We're here because free speech is under attack. We're here because people are being convinced that socialism works. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth.
Tlaib doubles down on Hamas propaganda, aid heading to the Gaza Strip, deportations restart at the southern border, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. Representative Rashida Tlaib of the far-left squad repeated during a Wednesday protest the debunked claim that Israeli Defense Forces were responsible for the bomb that struck a Gaza hospital, reportedly killing many civilians. Tlaib also accused the Biden administration of funding a genocide against Palestinians as she wept while speaking to the crowd of protesters calling for a ceasefire in the ongoing war between Israel and Hamas. Video evidence clearly shows the hospital parking lot was hit by a malfunctioning missile fired by Islamic Jihad. There was also an intercepted phone call between Hamas representatives and representatives of this Islamic Jihad where they admit it was a malfunction. Calls are increasing for Tlaib to be expelled from Congress as she continues to support terrorism. Senator John Fetterman expressed his support for Israel on X Wednesday when he also criticized some of his Democratic colleagues without mentioning them by name. Fetterman, in a series of posts, struck down calls for a ceasefire and questioned those who blamed the deadly hospital blast in Gaza on Israel, writing that it is truly disturbing that members of Congress were quick to take the word of Hamas, who blamed the death of hundreds at a Gaza hospital on an Israeli airstrike, over our key ally. Who would take the word of a group that just massacred innocent Israeli civilians over our key ally? The Pennsylvania senator asked on X. Innocent Israelis were the victims of a terrorist attack that resulted in the largest loss of Jewish life since the Holocaust, Fetterman wrote. Now we know that the tragedy at the Gaza hospital was not caused by Israel. A Hezbollah official is warning that the Iranian-backed Lebanese militant group is thousands of times stronger than before, and that U.S., Israel, and other malicious Europeans should be careful. The comments were made Wednesday by senior Hezbollah official Hashem Safieddine during a rally in a suburb of Beirut, where protesters also waved Hezbollah and Palestinian flags and chanted "Death to America and Israel." The response to the mistake you might make with our resistance will be resounding, Safieddine also was quoted by Reuters as saying. Because what we have is faith, and God is stronger than you, all your battleships and all your weapons. President Biden announced Wednesday that the United States would provide $100 million in aid for Palestinian civilians and said Israel and Egypt had agreed to let 20 trucks of food, water, and medicine into Gaza. The promise came as health officials warned of an escalating humanitarian crisis in the besieged Palestinian territory. Aid previously provided by the United Nations was stolen by Hamas and never made it to the Palestinian people. The Biden administration has said if anyone from Hamas attempts to take this aid, it will be immediately repealed. Drone attacks on Iraqi military bases used by U.S. forces slightly injured several coalition soldiers as tensions spread over the Israel-Hamas conflict following the explosion at the Gaza hospital. U.S. forces intercepted all three of the drones that targeted one base in western Iraq and another in northern Iraq. Two of the drones were destroyed, but one was only damaged, later hitting the western base and injuring an unspecified number of personnel. Iran-backed Iraqi militias have threatened to attack U.S. facilities in retaliation for Washington's support for Israel, according to the Associated Press. The Biden administration on Wednesday resumed deporting Venezuelans caught trying to cross the U.S. southern border illegally. The first deportation flight landed in Caracas with more than 100 men and women on board. The Biden administration is under pressure to toughen its approach to border enforcement as record numbers of migrants attempt to enter the U.S. without proper documentation. More than 380,000 Venezuelans have been stopped at the U.S.-Mexico border since President Biden took office in 2021. Weeks ago, the administration made nearly 500,000 Venezuelans who arrived before July 31st eligible for deportation relief and work permits, citing their South American nation's increased instability and lack of safety. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of The Raw Naked Truth at xvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.